Today's video is brought to you by SWAT Magazine, Survival Weapons and Tactics. Subscribe now at the link below or call 1-800-673-4595. SWAT is available in print and digital editions. That's SWATmag.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to AMTV. I'm Topher Morrison. So this is the latest news on Benghazi. Former U.S. Attorney Joe Genova is representing Benghazi whistleblower Mark Thompson, who was the Deputy Coordinator for Operations in the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Counterterrorism since 2006. Here is the coverage from Fox News. I'll be chiming in periodically if there's any mistakes.
Some new developments in the Benghazi terror attack as we hear a new theory being floated today. Former U.S. Attorney Joe Genova, who now represents one of the Benghazi whistleblowers who we watched testify before Congress in some very stirring testimony a month or so ago, has told a Washington radio station that the CIA, he believes, was running missiles through Libya, that a bunch of those weapons were stolen. Listen to this.
It is pretty clear that the biggest concern right now are 400 missiles which have been diverted in Libya and have gotten into the hands of some very ugly people. And they are worried, specifically according to these sources, about an attempt to shoot down an airliner.
Yeah, problem number one, this is not a new theory. The Sunday Times of London nearly 1 year ago, 3 days after the September 11th attacks on the Benghazi consulate, which claimed the lives of Ambassador Christopher Stevens and 3 others, reported the humanitarian ship, El Antasar, was carrying 400 tons of cargo. Some of it was humanitarian, but also reportedly weapons, described by the report as the largest consignment of weapons headed for Syria's rebels on the front lines.
Scary stuff, right? Christian Whiten is a former State Department senior advisor and the author of Smart Power, Between Diplomacy and War. Christian, welcome back. Good to have you with us again today. So you heard what Joe Genova said. Do you think he's onto something here?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Now, this just goes to show my ignorance, I guess. But I've never heard of anyone discount this idea outright. You know why? Because according to many sources at Fox News, the Sunday Times, the Telegraph, RT, and countless independent media outlets, and even Ambassador Christopher Stevens himself, were aware of the movement of weapons from Benghazi to Syria. The Wall Street Journal reported, moreover, that the consulate was a cover rather than a legit diplomatic mission. In addition, the CIA, with over 30 agents, dwarfed Ambassador Christopher Stevens' small little outfit.
I think there's a lot to blame the Obama administration for in regard to Benghazi, and there's still a lot of things we don't know. We don't know what the president was doing that night. We don't know who gave the order not to respond, and we don't know who created the phony story that the attack was in response to a movie trailer no one had seen. But there are just many problems with this theory. First of all, where did the man pads, the man-portable air defense systems, the surface-to-air missiles, where did they come from? Gaddafi was thought to have some in his arsenal, but they were around from when the Soviet Union was still in existence, and not one of them was used in the war.
Gee, why would no SA-7s be used in the war? How about the fact Libyan rebels, heavily infiltrated by al-Qaeda, only acquired them after the war? That would explain why Gaddafi's man-pads without a rebellion air force to speak of were not used. He wouldn't very well shoot down his own aircraft, would he?
Right. There's just a number of reasons that doesn't add up. If you were going to supply the Syrians with arms, first of all, it's unlikely you would publicly be saying you're not doing that while you were doing it. You'd probably just be quiet in public.
The only time I can find when any member of the Obama administration has denied arming the Syrian rebels out of Benghazi was when Hillary Clinton was asked point blank by Senator Rand Paul.
Now, my question is the U.S. involved with any procuring of weapons, transfer of weapons, buying, selling, anyhow transferring weapons to Turkey out of Libya?
To Turkey?
Up until that point, they were quiet as mice.
Second of all, you would actually procure the Russian-designed weapons that the Syrians need. You'd procure those from Eastern Europe and then just send them to Turkey and Syria and transfer them there. There'd be no reason to try and acquire used materiel from a bunch of militias in Libya that would then, blow the secrecy of your mission.
Okay, good point, good point. But there is a matter of plausible deniability here. Using El Antasar, General Abdul Hakim Belhaj, leader of the al-Qaeda affiliate Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, who Stevens closely worked with, the CIA really had no mission per se other than facilitating cover and some coordination. Other than that, the alleged 400 SA-7s were salvaged, in other words, free and without a paper trail, and therefore arguably beyond congressional oversight.
Also, the night before Ambassador Stevens, our ambassador to Libya, was killed, he wrote in his diary that he was looking forward to getting back to Benghazi the next day. He was going to see a number of people there. Highly unlikely he would have made that diary entry if he was off to meet with militias and arms dealers.
A journal entry? According to the Wall Street Journal, this is a CIA cover operation. All moves within that mission would likely be fabricated, including records. And yes, that means diary entries.
Obviously, it was a CIA activity, and perhaps they were trying to clean up some of the weapons from the Libyan uprising, something along those lines. Do you think that is a more logical explanation for what they were doing?
I think so. I think there were a number of man-pads left over in Gaddafi's arsenal. I don't think they were terribly useful. None of them were used against our aircraft, and you'll recall that NATO, including U.S. aircraft, were over Libya for just about the entire civil war. But nonetheless, out of an abundance of caution, a desire to clean those up, I believe, was what the CIA was up to.
Okay, Guy, this is twice now. You know why our planes didn't get shot down in Libya? Because man-pads have a 20,000-foot ceiling. A ceiling not optimal for high accuracy, mind you. F-16s, on the other hand, what NATO forces predominantly used in Syria, regularly operate between 30,000 and 40,000 feet.
You know, this lawyer has come out and also said that these missiles are responsible for the embassy closures. Why you would close an embassy in faraway, say, Pakistan because of loose man-pads in Libya is, again, it strains credulity that this is a valid theory.
Well, you might have got him there. I'll give you that one, because no, Obama wasn't worried about man-pads when he closed down the embassies around the Middle East. But even there, you're off topic, as it is not part of the theory regarding Benghazi itself. You are attacking his credibility, not necessarily the facts of the matter or this theory.
I think, you know, again, this is distracting from more significant malfeasance by the Obama administration.
Interesting.
You'll have to explain to me what could be more significant than a sitting U.S. president possibly giving a stand-down order, the only man with the power to do so, while American forces are under attack. What could be more significant than covering up an operation that would by proxy involve America in yet another war, this time in Syria? A war that has broad ramifications across the region and involves global superpowers like China and especially Russia. More significant? Now, if there's something more significant out there, that's a conspiracy. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe and share this video across all your social media. Got a tip or an interesting news clip? Shoot me an email at tophermorrison@amtvmedia.com. For more bonus material, follow me on Twitter @AMTVNews and like me on Facebook @TheRealTopherMorrison. Find my source work and more videos like these at amtvmedia.com. Keep us independent. Please donate $5 per month to alternative media.